started writing about how the governments, and the moment you can't have physical features, which is your tangible things that you can touch, things that you can feel, you have to go to the intangible things that you cannot
Yes.
touch and feel. The feeling,
Yep.
the emotion, you have to play upon those things. So very clearly, you're starting. See, we are already starting to have some kind of a direction. That okay, this is probably the side that we'll have to move towards.
So guys,
And I
whoever
think
is
once you have,
watching, so I'm sorry. So whoever is watching, this is the real, we took a brief. We are actually brainstorming and we are going towards a direction for a campaign. We are not going to create a campaign for you guys live here. This is only kind of a step-by-step approach that we are demonstrating. Omkar, I'm sorry, I'll just say hello to a few people. Uh,
sure, absolutely.
there is Dipanshu, good friend. Hello, Dipanshu. There is NP48. Hello, NP. The smog guy says, I'm thankful to myself that I joined this chat. Uh, we are we are thankful that you joined this chat. To everyone else who's watching, my request is start putting your questions now, whether they are about social media marketing or digital marketing or advertising. Please start shooting your questions. We are going to limit this chat to 35 40 minutes max, so we don't want to overshoot it. Please start asking. But Omkar, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
interrupting, and there's a pressing issue going on, and I wanted to really understand your perspective on it.
sure,
uh,
absolutely. Yeah,
I have been and I'm sure you have also seen, there is a there are multiple platforms of content distribution that have come out now.
yeah,
Even in digital, there are different kind of platforms and different type of content that is supported on those platforms. There is
yeah,
YouTube, which is a long form content. There's Facebook, which is discovery based content. Then there
yes,
is TikTok, that's a
yeah,
completely different kind of a content that's there. There is a
yeah.
So when you decide on the content strategy or the creative strategy for a brand, my question number one, have you started using TikTok as a part of your strategy? Uh,
Yes.
my second question is, when you think of content, how do you make that divide, a platform level divide on what kind of content will go
Sure.
where? How do you omit a platform? How do you select one?
Sure. So first things first. Yes, we are definitely using TikTok in our strategies. We've been using them for quite some time now, actually.
Okay.
I remember, I think a few months back, there was one of the reporters reached out to me to say, do you want to write about TikTok? And I said, yeah, sure. What's up? It's
Yep.
like, we think TikTok is great and TikTok thinks they are great. Everybody, users are great, but somehow brands don't think that's a great platform yet. And I said, why do you think that? And it's like, I don't know. Hey, so would you want to write about it? And I said, yeah, sure. Why not? And we started writing about how the government is starting to use TikTok first. So I think I remember we wrote about that, and we've been using TikTok for some time in our strategies.
Mhm.
Quite frankly speaking, because it is a platform that you cannot ignore, primarily because people are there.
Yep.
So I think that's the core understanding that you should have when you decide which platform to become part of your strategy or not. Is your target audience there? If they are there, you should be there. It's the very basic of any marketing that ever happened, that you go where the consumer is. Consumers used to be on television, so everybody flocked to television. The moment that changed and
Okay.
people were on Facebook, people flocked to Facebook. Today, you find a lot of people like us, for example, we are also live on Instagram. The time
Yeah.
spent on Instagram is very high, so people are flocking to Instagram.
Yeah.
And the moment you realize that people are flocking to TikTok, you should be there. It's very simple. There is no rocket science to it. The only reason why people don't want to go there is that personally they feel, the content kitna cringe hai.
Cringe.
I think
Yeah.
what's very important is that you have to keep your personal emotions away and think smarter. Now, the point is, while the content might be that way, there is also really, really cool content there. There are creators
Yeah.
who are brilliant, who are very, very creative, and they are putting out stuff which is phenomenal. I mean, I look at that stuff
Yeah.
and like, wow, ye kaise kiya isne? So I mean,
Yeah.
it's there, and it's just a matter of how skilled you are in your thought process and your execution.
Yeah.
So whenever you're thinking about which platform to use or not, I think it comes to the point where the step three was there, right? We are trying to figure out who this person is and what do they do in their day. And once you understand that, you realize where do they spend their time the most.
Sure.
So that becomes the base pool of saying that, okay, these are the kind of platforms that you should be there on. And out of that base pool, now you could be a little smart. You could say, and I think that smartness and that intelligence probably comes from a place of constraint. You know that, for example, if it's a startup brand, then instantly there is going to be a budgetary constraint, and
Yeah.
that's simple. If you were starting your own business, you would want to take baby steps. So then you can pick and choose only one or maybe two platforms out of the whole pool of five, and say we should not go on all
Right.
five. Let's focus on one and own that one, for example. So
Yeah.
similar, that one could also be TikTok and could also be Instagram, could be something totally different, could just be Snapchat maybe. It's possible. So I think that's where you need to be
Sorry.
very clear about.
Sure. So there's a very relevant question to what we've just discussed. This is by Ditisley. She's asking TikTok versus Instagram versus Facebook, which is a better platform to launch a product. So, Ditisley, I would like to just add to what Omkar said. This is not a this versus that game. The first thing you have to analyze is what's the budget do you have, and then you have to reverse engineer. But before that, the first filter is which platform has the audience that you are going after. If TikTok has the audience that you are going after, then yes, you should have that in your consideration. If Facebook is the audience, Facebook has your audience, then you have to go after that.
Yeah.
Obviously, then you have to create a balance. That's a media planning stage where you decide what budget to go on which platform. So I hope that answers. Now I'm taking another question from Prashant.
Just to add,
Yeah.
to what Puneet was saying, I think I wanted to just probably give you a slightly different way to look at this. A lot of times people tend to do that. They do a lot of reverse engineering that we all have done always. But I think a lot of places we are trying to slightly change that now. We say that when you decide that initially when we spoke about that, what do you need to speak about and how will you speak it? The strategy comes first and then the creative. The moment
Yeah.
you're trying to think about how you're going to speak it, you'll realize that if this is what I want to speak, I think I'll be able to speak it best on this platform.
Right.
And then when you choose the platform, I think it becomes very, very effective for you. We've seen that a
Absolutely.
lot
So,
of success through that. Go ahead.
So I think that's a great perspective. Omkar, I'll quickly take some questions. So the first question is from Prashant Thakur 11. What's the best way to reach out to the bottom of the pyramid, considering their accessibility and understanding? So how do you reach out to your mass audience that might
Yeah,
not have access to resources like the top of the pyramid would?
yeah. So I think we're doing that a lot today. We work with a few of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the country. And one of the big challenges we've had over the past few years is to reach out to this last mile consumer. One thing we have to understand is after the onset of, let's say, Geo, what has happened is there's fantastic internet penetration now. And after brands which have come out, which have very affordable smartphones in the market, people have access to those screens now. They might not have ever seen a television, but they have access to a smartphone screen. So that's great. The instantaneous thing that I would tell you is that to understand, again, the same process that we initially followed, trying to find out where are they spending their most of their time. And you will realize that one of the best places to reach out to that last mile audience is YouTube. Because that is the one platform where they spend tremendous amount of time.
Absolutely.
And frankly speaking, what you have to do, and something that we have built in our ecosystem for the past year and a half, about 12 to 18 months now, is multilingual capabilities. Now we are doing content in almost 14 languages today. And I think what's going to be extremely important, and it's been talked about since ये सालों से चल रहा है. Vernacular is the future. Vernacular is the future. लेकिन हम आज भी हिंदी में बात नहीं करते. We want to put out that cool English post. It's the truth. But the moment you go mass, you have to understand that the big problem is a real problem. There is no capability.
Yeah.
If you want to write in Tamil, do you have Tamil writers? Probably not. So yes, it's a natural problem. You'll say, okay, let's not write in Tamil because we can't write in Tamil. We have to build capabilities. We have to build capabilities to start talking to audiences in the language that they understand. Mix these two, and you'll be able to reach your last mile consumer very quickly.
Absolutely. And to whoever is listening and are planning to use YouTube, in my experience, YouTube has shown great results when it comes to doing that last mile purchase conversion. So if you look, a lot of people look at YouTube as an awareness tool, but it's been constantly proven that YouTube increases consideration and conversions, the last mile conversions. So please do read up on that. Yeah. So the next question is from Tanya. She's asking, do hashtags really engage people? Meaning trending hashtags. And I've heard the Instagram algorithm. Is this really something like that affect on the engagement? So, Omkar, I'll answer this question because I've been
Yeah,
dabbling
please
with
go ahead.
hashtags for a while now. Tanya, hashtags do not increase the. So, what hashtags do is they kind of. So, each hashtag clubs your post under the category of every other post that's using the same hashtag and is probably
Yeah.
talking about a similar topic. So, hashtag is your topic. What hashtags on Instagram do is they get your post to get discovered. So it helps you in increasing the reach of your post, but engagement is not something that a hashtag guarantees. Engagement depends on
Yeah.
the content of your post. So hashtag, what hashtag will do is वो आपकी पोस्ट कई लोगों को दिखाएगा, बट अगर आपके पोस्ट का कंटेंट अच्छा नहीं है तो उसके साथ कोई एंगेज नहीं करेगा. So when you use hashtags, let's say you're using 30 hashtags, you go to the insights of your Instagram, you will actually see the reach you have got through hashtags, and you will be able to measure that. I have been using hashtags for my Instagram growth for a while, and I actually think it works very well. So Ankita, girl with
Baba,
French doors.
you're an Instagram personality, Baba.
I would politely deny that. But so the next question is from Ankita, girl with French toes. She's asking, Omkar, I think this is for you. I have a prospective client who wants me to handle the social media account. This is a personal branding account. How to handle this account where it's only me promoting on every platform? How to segment it? How to handle when? So I think her problem is she's the only one. I think Ankita is a freelancer, and there is a
Okay.
personal branding kind of an account that is coming to her. What
Okay.
advice do you have for Ankita if she wants to manage the whole account and include the
Sure.
whole so platform mix into her strategy?
So I think, Ankita, one of the big things that you have to keep in mind is personal branding is quite different from when you move towards company branding. When you have brands to work with, they are very clear personalities and all that. When you go to a personal space, I think some things still work the same. Where you have to still figure out what that person's forte is going to be, and try to understand that, okay, these are the three very important things that this person will talk about overall in the market. The next thing that you will have to keep in mind is that when you're going to speak on behalf of this person, you can also segment your platform usage basis each and every one of them. So for example, there are three things this person will talk about: thing A, thing B, thing three. So for A, you use Facebook, for B, you use Instagram, and for C, you use Twitter. What happens is that you have given people a reason to follow them across the three platforms, because three very different things are going to be served to them on these three platforms. Working to the person's strengths is very important. I think you'll have to spend a lot of time with this person, whoever is the person that you're looking to brand, and try to understand their flavor. Because a lot of times freelancers, as well as for that matter agencies, the writer who is writing on for these accounts, you start finding that their personality starts coming out rather than the person's personality. So it's very important to catch their personality, spend as much time as possible with them, their nuances. Let them text you a lot so you understand what is the style of texting, what is the style of their writing, where do they use their capitals, where do they not use their full stops, do they use punctuations or not. Make it as authentic as possible. So when you do that, I think you'll be very clear in the right kind of branding that you will do to them, and you'll be able to match the platforms also very smartly because of that.
Very well said. I think, Ankita, I think this should very well answer your question. I have also put out a 6-step kind of a guidelines for personal branding on the feed. I think you've seen that post, but if you have any questions, and I've mentioned how to be genuine, how should you talk, what's the frequency you should maintain. I think you should take a look at that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to DM. Kirtan is asking, I'm Kirtan. How do you think digital advertising has differentiated itself from traditional advertising? I believe they have started to converge. I Okay, Omkar, I'll just tell you what I feel, and
Yeah.
then you can add to it. So, Kirtan, I feel
So,
that the lines between traditional and digital are blurring as rapidly as it could. There is this new giant that has emerged. It's called integrated. When I work personally on campaigns, I don't really look at it as digital and traditional. I look at it as a marketing campaign and I choose whatever I feel will work for the brand. And that's how I
Yeah.
create my mixes. Omkar, over to you.
I think that line between the two never really existed. At the end of the day, it's the same way that you're saying that the before television was introduced in people's lives, there used to be the newspaper. So that
Yeah,
time they said traditional is print and new media is television.
yeah,
And anybody who was smart at that time said that no, it's just one new medium which I can reach out to my target audience on. And that's very good for me because now I was bored of using the same medium again and again. So this new medium is great. The moment social media came on board, before that digital was already being used. So there were already banners which are happening. Email marketing was at
yes,
least 10 years older to social media coming on board.
absolutely.
It's just that when social media came on board, specialized agencies came on board. They got a chance to start their businesses there, and that's where we are thinking that there is a bifurcation. But the smarter ones globally, and I'm saying the smarter ones amongst us on this side of the audience, where we are the ones who are the advertisers. I think everybody was very clear that there is no line really. It's one
Yeah.
new medium. So when you're thinking, you don't think what is going to be, unless of course the brief tells you to do that. You have to write specifically for one particular platform. But mostly briefs don't come that way. Briefs come saying that I want to do this. This is my objective. Now you tell me how do I achieve it. So the client's problem is never going to be very specific, saying that I want to own this platform. Batao kaise karna hai. They'll just say
So
I have this problem. Solve it for me.
तो एक और
So I
प्रॉब्लम जो
think
आपको सो उनका एक और प्रॉब्लम एंड यू विल
yeah,
रिलेट एक और प्रॉब्लम आएगी जिसमें क्लाइंट आपको बोलेगा मुझे ये चाहिए बट मेरा बजट इतना ही है तो उसमें
yeah,
a lot of your traditional marketing will automatically go off your books. You won't be able to.
yeah,
So क्योंकि if you want to run a small TV campaign, it's so upwards of 2-3 CR. So when your
correct, correct.
client gives you a budget that's 50 lakhs or 1 CR, and they will you don't have that kind of a budget with you to create a marketing mix with traditional and digital both. Your
Yeah,
outdoor campaign, even in 2 cities for 20 days, that will be upwards of 1 CR. So that's the kind of
very true.
so I think a lot
I
of
think I
that
think one of the
gets
big things.
filtered out.
Very true.
Yeah,
I think that's very true. I think client budgets tend to filter out a lot of platforms, no doubt about it.
yeah,
I think what you should aim to do if you're a young marketer today, I think one of the big things you should aim to be is a consulting partner for your client, which means they might have reached out to you today with a specific budget in mind for a specific kind of campaign, which is for a specific kind of a platform. But moving forward, can you guide them and give them the right advice that tomorrow they don't come to you only for that? It
yeah,
shouldn't be that, okay, ab mere paas bada budget hai, I'll go to the elder agency. They
yeah.
come to you still for advice, saying that, okay, I do think I can have the budget for television, but what about the idea? Can you guide me with that? Because I really, want to hear your thought process in that. If you started to build that kind of relationship and you break those barriers, I think you will start finding that the kind of briefs start coming to you also. And I think that's something that we have been successful in doing also in the past few years, where we've got a chance to be more consulting partners. We've been that since the starting, and I think you should aim to do that anytime you're working with your clients, guys.
Yeah. So Akshay Tiwari has a question. He's asking TikTok could be a good platform to discover a product or a brand, but there would be very less buy intent. This is my perception. Am I correct? What do you think, Omkar?
So first of all, hi Akshay. A lot of people who've been asking questions are good friends of mine. Also, Aditi Sulis, Aditi, Prashant is my. So Prashant Thakur, who's asking that question, is actually my roommate from MBA college. Uh, and Akshay is a fantastic biker, by the way. So bike pe
Hi,
baithe baithe,
Akshay.
please don't see TikTok videos. But it's a fair question. Very true. A lot of places which will give you heavy reach. Any platform that gives you very heavy reach, by default, is something that can be used very well for creating the right kind of buzz, getting your message out there. So your awareness-led campaigns work very well with television today because television gives you great reach. Similarly, TikTok gives you phenomenal reach. It will work the best today for you if you're looking at an awareness campaign. Those challenges, those different things that you do and all that, it's going to create very strong awareness. Continuous awareness created will create strong desire and create strong intent. That will happen. But rightly said, TikTok might not give you instant buying intent, but it will make sure that your awareness is very strong. I think you
So,
were right over there.
yeah. So, Akshay, you have to stop looking at a platform as a silo, and you have to start looking at it as a part of the funnel. So, when you say that it will help you get discovered, that also means that down the funnel, it is helping you to get those
Yes,
conversions into place.
absolutely.
So, that's one of the reasons why we create a marketing mix and not just a platform-based strategy. So let's go to the next question. Ditishley is asking, Omkar, this is directly for you. Do you think PR packages really help? So what's your take on PR agencies? I Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, this is and you know, a lot of times people tend to like diplomatically move away from these
Like I
places,
did.
but
I'm moving away diplomatically from this.
you know me, I would never do that. I'd say okay, whatever, bring it on. So I think first comes first is my take on PR agencies. PR agencies are extremely important if they do their job properly, if they understand their job properly, and there are very few of them. I'll be very clear about that. There are very few of them, and those few are phenomenal. I have a lot of respect for a lot of PR agencies, but only the ones who really do their job properly, and they understand their job very well. And I've had really torrid experiences. I've had clients who asked me to sit in PR agency meetings as a representative from their side to guide their PR agency to think properly because the PR agency was not doing a good job. It happens, and it's something you have to understand. The reason being because for them also they are still trying to grapple the difference of this digital ecosystem that has come forward. A lot of times, for example, it's very easy for a digital agency to go and say that I'll get you an article on scoopwhoop.com. The same idea the PR agency comes up with, saying that okay, मैं भी एक digital PR करूँगा आपके लिए. Okay, tell me what is the digital PR that you'll do. तो मैं आपका सर आइडिया ना मैं एक फैंटास्टिक आर्टिकल स्कूप पे लगा दूंगा. And the client instantly says, ये तो मेरा एजेंसी 4 महीने से बोल रहा है. So what is the difference that you're going to be doing? And there isn't much. So PR packages, if you're looking at it from the perspective of publishers, yes, they are very interesting. And it's very important to evaluate them for the value that they bring on. So what's important to say is that the publishers primarily are, why are these PR packages coming up today? Publishers need to sell more. So they're trying to find newer ways to generate revenue. I think what's very important is some of them are, you know, priced obscenely high, and for the result that they can probably provide you, you have to say very politely no to them. Negotiation is one very big tactic and a very big, I'd say add-on that PR agencies can bring forward when they have to negotiate with these publishers for these packages. Secondly, which are packages which are more relevant? Can PR agencies work with the publisher platforms to bring relevant packages?
Yeah.
I think that's something which PR agencies bring on board a lot. And very importantly, public relations. So crisis management, personality management. That is the PR agency. Yeah. Reputation management. That is PR agency's core, I would say, forte. They seem to have forgotten that.
I was just going to say that. I think everything you've said is bang on. One thing that the new age agencies haven't been able to grasp yet is the crisis and reputation management. That still is something that the PR agencies have a great control over, and that's very important. So when you're a small startup, you might not need that much, you might not have a requirement, but when you're large corporates that are on a daily level, you know, dealing with crisis and situations like those, and especially in the day and age like this, where a single tweet on Twitter can blow up crazily, you need someone who's an expert with understanding of how to manage a crisis. So based on that, Omkar,
I'll give you a case in point, in fact, for this itself, for the same PR thing. I'll give you a case in point right now. I think one of the big things that, you know, startup founders who are big names, they tend to think that, okay, I can manage it, I don't need somebody. Or sometimes they choose somebody basis a price point and they decide saying that, okay, I just don't need somebody great. But once they start becoming really big, they start making a lot of mistakes. And case in point is what CureFit is going through today. They've been our clients for some time, so I know them very well. They're phenomenal guys. They do their work very well, and the teams are brilliant over there. But look at what's happening in the market today. I think that's if they had a PR agency, that PR agency should be fired. If they didn't have a PR agency, well, the guy who decided that should be held accountable. That's a PR fiasco.
Okay.
If they had a smart guy there, this would not have happened. It's very simple.
Okay. So I'm just going to say hello to Shobha, Sohil, Payal. Hello, everyone. And now, hello to Ruchira. I'm taking a question from Methili. Her question is, need some insights on Twitter marketing. Omkar, what do you think? Do you use Twitter for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Twitter is a platform which is grossly misunderstood in our country. A lot of times, and it's rightly so, because a lot of times these decisions, which platform to finally use or not, rests with the managers on the other side, and brand
Yeah.
managers on the other side tend to look at platforms which can give them their key KPI metrics very strong. मेरा daily engagement rate, मेरा virality, and can I use those things, impressions, something which is cool. So can I put up a cool story? Can I put up a cool Instagram story and get my brownie points with my manager?
Hmm.
Because my target is, of course, to reach my objectives, but also to gain my appraisal at the end of the year. So sadly, that tends to drive a lot of decision making. But the smart ones have used Twitter really well. Twitter primarily is a great chance to engage with your audiences multiple times during the day.
Yeah.
Contrary to what happens on all the other platforms, you cannot tend to put out, let's say, 5 posts a day on an Instagram feed. A lot of
Absolutely.
people will tell you, "Oh my God, that's madness."
Yeah.
But you can easily put out 50 tweets in a day, and people will not have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
So
And
instantaneously,
Twitter
that's a big
also,
difference.
yeah, so Twitter also is a great customer support tool. Everyone knows if you have a problem with a
Absolutely,
brand and you tweet it out, you will get a response. You won't get it on Instagram
absolutely.
or Facebook. And also, one of the reasons is on Instagram and Facebook, all these platforms, people like to keep their accounts private, and it's very difficult for brands to interact with you, you to interact with brands in a very open environment. But Twitter kind of opens that out. I'm not saying that there are not problems with how Twitter functions. There is a lot of spammy trends that keep happening. So keeping those platforms aside, I think Twitter as a platform needs a direction to align with 2020.
Very
And
true. I think
with that,
what brands have really struggled to figure out is what is their voice going to be on Twitter. Twitter demands that
yeah,
of anyone who's there, individuals
yeah,
or brand. You need to have your personality very clear. There are some global brands who do phenomenal work. I mean, look at
yeah,
Jimmy's Seafood, for example. They take on PETA daily, and you would be surprised that a brand has so much of, and pardon my language there, but they're showing so much balls that they are really becoming
yeah,
bold in their approach on Twitter. Zomato does that really well. There used to be a time when Wendy's used to do that a lot. Wendy's
yeah,
used to be the brand which would troll people who would tweet to them.
yeah,
There was a time when people would say, just tweet to Wendy's to ensure that, hey Wendy's, why don't you troll me back? And Wendy's used to reply by saying, you wish.
yeah,
Imagine that was a level of engagement that they would build with their teams. And now sadly, what a lot of brands tend to do is just forget Twitter and say it's too tough for us to figure out something consistently here, because once you start you have to be consistent. So that's also one of the things. That's where the agency needs to give the confidence that once we begin, once we have your personality very clear, we can do this continuously for the rest of the year. And at this stage, I think one of the big things that brand tends to do is just use it as a customer service support, and that's it.
right.
So sadly,
Okay.
that's where we end up being.
So we are just going to, I think we have overshot the time limit. I'm just going to extend it for 5 more minutes and we'll try to answer as many questions in those 5 minutes. So the next question is from Shashank Bhardwaj. What are the KPIs for influencer marketing? So I'm just going to answer this quickly, Shashank. I think the KPIs for any form of campaign, if you're spending money as a
Yeah.
brand, whether it's on
Yeah.
influencer marketing or anything else, it stays the same. You have to start looking at the KPIs based on what level of funnel are you approaching. If it's awareness, it's going to be reach, impressions, your uplift in engagement and your awareness. Then if you go down consideration, you have to start looking at the metrics that are associated with consideration. And finally, you don't have to look at the above metrics in silo. You have to at the end bring them down your funnel and result into sales. If I had to answer in one line, every business has only one objective, and that's to make money to drive sales. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of answers. So the next question, I'm quickly taking a couple of questions, is by Shobha. How to avoid fake marketing strategies? I'm not. I'm not sure how to
Well,
avoid this.
make them yourself. Make sure you're not taking someone's strategy and trying to retrofit into yours. So strategies can't be like one size fits all. So if anybody tells you use this strategy and use it for wherever you want, and that's a fake marketing strategy. So make it yourself, man. That's the first thing that you can do.
So if you're talking about, when you say fake marketing strategies, if you are talking about buying those followers and bots and all that,
Oh
I
my
have
God,
a
no,
I have a
no.
strict no for all those strategies. Please
Yeah,
never
yeah,
do
don't
that.
do it.
Go to my feed. I've talked a lot about why it can really harm you. We have Shresht Podar on the chat.
Namaskar,
Uh,
namaskar, Suresh.
Shresht, hello, good to see you here. Sohil Karia has asked you who manages Shabang's Copcom. She needs a shout out. I have a feeling Sohil Karia is from Shabang. Please
That's true.
correct me
That's
if
true.
I'm.
Sohail is one of the founding guys. Also, he's the head of design and tech at our site. And
Hey Sohil.
yeah, so Yashaswini actually manages, and Neha Pujara, these two manage our Shebang communications handle. And I think Yash
Okay.
is doing a phenomenal job there. You'll enjoy it. I mean, it's one of the case in point of all the things you can really do. I mean, there are no limits really. So I think if you want to just kind of like follow that and get your idea about that PR side, right, the corporate communication that we're talking about, I think you'll get a great flavor of the things that any brand can do today on social media. So I think that's what we probably want to talk about.
I think that was also a very smart plug by Shabang guys. I think that's how the smart agencies work. This is so somebody had mentioned
We'll
above
get you
that.
from all sides. We will get you from all sides.
Yeah, so someone had mentioned that digital, PR is an earned media, whereas digital is a paid media. So for that, I think Shashank had said that. So Shashank, case in point, you just saw a free PR, and free media happening from Shabang side. Another
I'll tell you
question,
one great thing that
yeah,
we did. It's not the truth. I think one of the smart things that you can do, if your content is really phenomenal, it will go viral. And I'm saying going viral, it's again a very loosely used term. There is no way to go viral. I think the
yeah,
simple way that you can try and go as viral as possible, and basically you can try and make sure organically your content really goes out to a lot of places, is trying to
yeah,
be true to your brand and make sure
yeah,
there is certain amount of entertainment factor in there which makes a person really delighted. If you're
yeah.
trying to delight your consumer, they will make sure that they share it with more people. We did a brilliant campaign for Xiaomi called Diwali with Me, where we made this set of 15 videos in 4 days, out of which 4 videos were with one of my great friends and a phenomenal actor, Danish Seth. And
Oh,
so
I
with
know,
him,
I
we
know
made
him.
this video with the Swami Nityananda. We did a parody on that,
Yes,
and
yes,
after a
absolutely.
couple of days, that stuff started coming back to us on WhatsApp in our apartment groups, in our family groups. Hey guys, have you seen this? Hey guys, have you seen this? And that was a true moment of like saying, oh wow, now we've done it. This has gone viral.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's what you really aim to do with anything that you would trying to
So
build.
just to end this, I think for anyone who's into creative or the agency space, even the brand side, I think one of the best feelings is when something you have created spreads so much that it actually comes
Absolutely.
back to you. It's happened with Omkar a lot of times. It's happened with me. There have been times when I've created a brand film that has caught so much virality that it's come back to me. People asking me, "Hey, did you
Yeah.
check out this?" And that feeling is lovely. Uh,
True.
Omkar, do you have time to answer two more questions very quickly?
Sure. Absolutely. Let's go ahead.
Guys, we are almost closing an hour of this conversation. So thanks. Let's all thank Omkar again for spending so much time with us. So
Anything for you,
Akshay's,
Baba.
Baba, thank you always. You've always been very helpful for me. Akshay has asked, buying a post space or buying ad space with third party establishes part establishes partner. Which one is better? I think he's talking about purchasing third party inventory on third party websites. It could be high impact inventories, or it could be
Yeah.
publishers. Do you think
Right.
it helps? I so Omkar, I'll just take this very quickly. I think
Yeah. Sure.
it definitely helps, Akshay. If you have the budgets to look at native advertising on third party publishers, that's a very good way because it's very contextual. You get a ready-made audience. If let's say you want to advertise, you have a car brand to advertise for, and you take a car website let's say it's Autocar or Team BHP, and you put out your ad there, you have a complete contextually ready audience right there for you. I think I'll I wanted to mention the name of a brand, but I won't be. But we are also running a little short on time. So let's answer one last question. Ditisley is asking, what do you think about Pepsi versus Coke tantrum in the yesteryears? Will such a strategy work? I think she's talking about that head-on advertising
Brand wars.
battles that have happened. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of these still happen. I just witnessed one a legal. I was going through some legal proceedings happening for Dettol and another brand where
Yeah.
both the brands were fighting. These, if you go too much all out and you're not too subtle about it, these don't generally end well. But Omkar, do you think a brand war is a good idea for brands in today's age? Like, should you get into it yourself, or what do you think?
See, this is something where you have to be very cautious. I think one of the very important things to be cautious about is if you get into a brand war, does your brand have the personality to be accepted in that war? Which means that if you do it, would your followers say, "हाँ ये तो कर सकते हैं," and they'll rally behind you? If
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
great. If not, then you already don't have a personality which is aggressive in nature. Don't get into
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I think it's very exciting when you do that, but you have to ensure that you are going to keep it civilized to the point where you're still using smart copies, smart branding pokes, and all of that, and not get I'd say disrespectful in any manner. Then I think it definitely keeps working. We did that actually. I'll give you the same example of the Diwali with me.
Yeah.
One of the videos with Danish was for he tried to parody Arnab, and over there in the script we said that Xiaomi has decimated the opposition. Where is the
Yeah.
opposition now? And I think
Opposition.
it was went viral. It was almost like an Easter egg in there, and the comments went mad over there. And
Very
the
clever.
brand is aggressive, and it was accepted by the followers. If you're not ready for that, don't get into it, because it does require you to have a certain personality. Very, very importantly, you will need buy-in from right at the top in the brand side. So your CMOs and your
Yeah.
senior marketing people, the VPs of marketing, they need to be like, go for it, we are with you. Then you go for
Yeah.
it. Otherwise, you will just be very, very stuck with it.
And you also have to realize that you have to keep in mind that this stuff could backfire someday, and you have to be ready. So a lot of companies keep a budget handy specifically only for legal troubles that might arise out of this. So a lot of brands
Yeah.
do that. If your brand doesn't have that kind of a quota separately placed, and you don't align with the tonality which is aggressive and is ready to, and your audience is not rallying behind you, it's better to
True.
ignore any kind of trolling and stay out of it. I'm now going to just say thanks to a few people who've been asking questions. So Ditisley, thank you for joining. Methili, who says thanks for an insightful session. Puneet and Omkar, thank you. Tanya, thanks a lot.
Thank you all for having us.
Akshay, thanks. Shresht, the SMO guy. Sohil, Shobha, thanks a lot. Saga, Kirtan, there is someone called Dikhao_Fir. Thank you, Dikhao Fir.
Dikhao is one of the guys who actually, he's the guy who actually wrote those scripts for the Diwali with me videos with Danish, which I'm talking about. He's a writer for that. His
Absolutely.
name is Deepak Krishna. He's the creative lead at the bank.
Hi, Deepak. Nice to have you here. Shashank, thank you. Payal, Drunken Chimp, Ankita, Ruchira, NP48, and also all these people, Dipanshu, Harsh, Doctor Machine. Okay, so I missed out. I'm just taking it because this was the first comment and I missed it. Doctor of Machine says, "How can I get a client because I'm a beginner?" Do you want to quickly answer this?
See, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest things that you can do is that understand that whenever you're a beginner in anything,
Yeah.
if you're beginning your business, you're beginning, starting a new product company, anything, you will have to hustle out at the beginning, which means you have to do your cold calling, keep keep acting like a salesperson. That guy who comes to your door selling the Eureka Forbes ka Aquaguard, remember that guy and start ready to live that life for some time till the time you
Yeah.
bag your first 20 clients. I've done that multiple times in my life. Whenever I've started new units and all that, you have to keep begging for work. The point is, when you get that opportunity, you will be able to do all the things that you know how to do. But till that point, somebody has to trust you for the first time. Till that
Yeah.
time, you will have to keep hustling. You will have to keep your ego down and keep asking for work. Shamelessly go out there and ask for work, because there is nothing to be shameful about that. Be sure that you are cold calling like mad. You are using all your network, all your friends, all your family. Make sure that you are doing everything possible to find that first point of work. And when you start finding out the work, make sure you're marketing that work a lot also. Because what is also very, very important is that once you have started getting that first two, three, clients and the kind of work that you're doing there, you have to keep talking about it as much as you can, because that is going to help you pull some more clients out.
Yeah.
Find a niche for yourself also. Very importantly, what's different? Why should somebody give you the work? One of the biggest things that you can really go to any client for that matter and tell them to give you the work is because you're hungry. You will put more effort than anyone else out there because you're hungry for the work. And second is that you can do it probably at a slightly lower price. So tell them to give you that chance, and I think you will find that chance. I think there is no dearth of opportunity